you missed one, me!
On this channel, we've gone over multiple origins of multiple characters from the He-Man universe. But sadly, not every character is created equal. And in this video, we're gonna go over the origins of one such character. Let's get into the facts about Mekaneck. Let's get to it.
Pretty smart kid.
For many years, Prince Adam has defended Castle Grayskull and its secrets from the evil Skeletor and his forces, but he is not alone in this venture. He has the Power of Grayskull, the Sorceress, At Arms Duncan, Teela, and a whole host of heroic characters to aid him. Since Adam takes center stage in almost all of the adventures, we sometimes forget the supporting characters without whom Eternia would not be Eternia. In this world of medieval sword and sorcery and sci-fi, each character is unique, and we would be remiss to ignore any of them. Today, let's shed a spotlight on one of these heroes, Mekaneck. Let's find out everything we can about him without much further ado. The heroic humanoid periscope. Long before the cartoons gave Mekaneck emotions, friends, and depth, he was just a toy sold by Mattel. In 1982, Michael Halperin and Roger Sweet came up with a concept of Spy-Man, a fighter with the ability to literally periscope his neck over obstacles to spy on enemy locations. Halperin wrote the Bible, while Roger Sweet had designed this idea with a simple armor design. In '83, Spy-Man became Mekaneck, and Tony Rhodes from Mattel designed the toy in such a way that his neck would pop out when you twisted his waist. The toy had the modern design we have come to associate with Mekaneck: a sharp domed helmet, red armor, a golden club, and a blue suit. He was initially sold as a surveillance hero. A battlefield scout. Many of the He-Man action figures were sold alongside mini-comics with stories about the characters. These comics, mostly written by Michael Halperin and Donald F. Glut, and illustrated by Alfredo P. Alcala, narrated stories that involved Mekaneck, but in these stories, he was just another heroic warrior. He would almost blend into the background, and his character had no real depth. He was never the center of the story, emotionally or otherwise, and was brought onto adventures so that he could scout areas with his neck.
Son, put your arm around my neck and hold on.
Filmation origins. The Filmation series He-Man and the Masters of the Universe is the piece of media that should be credited with giving such great emotional depth to the toys created by Mattel. Without them, He-Man might have well been just another piece of plastic. Each and every character of the universe found an all-round character development in the series, and the same is true about Mekaneck. The first episode Mekaneck appears in is in Disappearing Dragons, the 16th episode of Season 2. The Sorceress tells He-Man that Granomir has requested his help from him, so He-Man sets out to the Dragon Mountain with Orko. Orko gets into some shenanigans there too, as he tries to impress Granomir by telling him he's a wizard. Granomir ignores him and informs He-Man about the mysterious disappearance of dragons from Dragon Mountain. His magic had not helped him find them, so he asked He-Man for help. Since he had a vast territory to search, He-Man called on Mekaneck and Buzz-Off to help him. The duo catch Cobra Khan and Webster shooting dragons with a transporter ray. The two heroes attack them, but are defeated easily. He-Man rushes to their help, and Orko, in his attempt to help them, makes the transporter ray go berserk. It shoots them all and breaks down. Mekaneck, along with He-Man, Buzz-Off, Webster, and Cobra Khan, are transported to another dimension, which is inhabited by the Dharmi. The Dharmi had struck a deal with Cobra Khan to supply them with dragons. The Dharmi had been making the dragons fight for them in the arena and were betting on them. He-Man tries to reason with them, but the Dharmi don't listen. They throw He-Man into the arena and imprison Mekaneck and Buzz-Off in a force field. By this time, Orko had contacted Granomir and told him about everything that had happened. Granomir fixed the ray and used it to get to the other dimension. Granomir helps He-Man defeat the Dharmi and frees the dragons. While this is going on, Cobra Khan and Webster flee. It is Mekaneck's turn to shine, though, as he uses his neck to scan the perimeter and locate the two. It's not long after that they are captured and bound. Granomir, after having his dragon brothers destroy the arena of the Dharmi as revenge for kidnapping them, transports them all back to Eternia. This was the first adventure of Mekaneck. He would not appear again until the 51st episode. Here, there, Skeletors everywhere. In this episode, Man at Arms begins experimenting with his duplicating device which catches the eye of Skeletor. It's not perfected yet, as the duplicates are half the size of the original. When Adam returns from the experiment site to the palace, Mekaneck, who is standing beside the king and the queen, announces his arrival. The royal couple is meeting with Jerba, Jiba, and Jay, a family of teddy bear-like creatures who use a stone called Vambite to turn invisible. Vambite is necessary for the survival of their kind, as they gather their food using it to avoid being hunted down by wild animals. There is only one Vambite now, and their survival is now threatened. So, He-Man decides to help them with the duplicating machine, but that had been stolen by Skeletor. He-Man pursues Skeletor and Mekaneck runs behind, asking him to count him in. Mekaneck helps He-Man track Skeletor with his neck, but by the time they reach him, they see that Skeletor had created multiple duplicates of himself. As the duplicates attack the palace, Mekaneck keeps a neck out as lookout while He-Man destroys the machine, which gets rid of all the duplicates. In these 2 episodes, we barely get to know Mekaneck. He's not really an influential part of the group. Neither does he get to reveal his character. And for that, we have to see the 57th episode, Search for a Son. The episode begins with a boy called Derek playing Frisbee with Mekaneck. Derek confides in Duncan that though he has a lot of fun with Mekaneck, he seems to be sad. Duncan reveals that playing with him makes Mekaneck remember his own son, a boy around his age, whom he lost. It happened when Mekaneck was visiting Dragon Mountain with his son Philip. Mekaneck did not have his periscope-like neck then, and he was hearing his son play the flute. Philip told his father that one day he would like to play for the pleasure of the king and queen. Mekaneck was pleased to hear that, as it was a noble dream. A hailstorm began abruptly, and the winds were so strong that they blew Philip away. Once the storm stopped, Mekaneck began to look for his son. Unfortunately, his neck was severely hurt during the storm, and he soon passed out from the pain. That was when Duncan found him. As his neck was damaged beyond healing, Duncan gave him a bionic neck. Mekaneck was so grateful for it that he decided to stay in the palace and serve King Randor. Though Mekaneck spent a lot of days searching for Philip, he never found him. But to this day, Mekaneck has hope that one day he will find his son. Philip is alive and well, but in the clutches of Count Marzo, who had rescued him. Count Marzo orders Philip to play in the market to distract a gold merchant so that he can sneak behind him and steal his gold. Philip refuses to do so, but Marzo is not so willing to let him go without receiving proper payment for rescuing him. So he orders him to help him lay a trap for King Randor so he can seize the throne. King Randor plans an expedition to the Evergreen Forests to visit the Bee People, and Duncan appoints Mekaneck to lead the caravan. Mekaneck agrees, and as he is resting in the garden before the journey, he laments about losing his son. Suddenly, he sees a projection of Philip's face right in front of him, begging for his help. Mekaneck wonders if he's hallucinating when Marzo appears and assures him that what he saw was real. Marzo offers to return his son to Mekaneck if he delivers the king and queen to Marzo. The loyal Mekaneck refuses to do so, and Marzo promises to make him regret his decision. He tells Duncan, who asks Adam to accompany the royal couple just in case Marzo tries to abduct them. The journey to Evergreen Forest begins, and after a while, Mekaneck scouts the path and chooses an oasis as the perfect resting spot. The oasis is a trap by Marzo, who kidnaps the king and queen successfully. Marzo hides them with Philip in a cave with a disguised entrance. As the three search for an exit, Philip falls down a pit. Orko manages to find the entrance through his shenanigans, and Mekaneck enters with He-Man and Battlecat. As He-Man defeats Marzo's thug, Mekaneck extends his neck into the pit and asks Philip to hold on. Philip does so, and Mekaneck pulls him out. Count Marzo shows himself and tells He-Man that he will one day take over Eternia, and disappears. Philip and Mekaneck reunite, and it's a happy ending for all. To be honest, I did not like this origin story for Mekaneck at all. It seems overkill for Duncan to give him a bionic neck just because his real neck was hurt in a storm. I couldn't get around the fact that Philip saw his dad with a long, extendable mechanical neck and didn't even comment about it. But I will say though, it's nice to know Mekaneck has a family outside of the heroic warriors. Mekaneck in the reboot. The 2002 reboot of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe, often called MOTU 2000X, was well regarded, but poor ratings got the show cancelled after just 2 seasons. Mekaneck received a good storyline in the show, where an episode called Mekaneck's Lament explored his insecurities as a warrior with a not-so-impressive power. In a battle against Skeletor and his forces, Triclops severely injures Mekaneck's neck. When Duncan puts him on reconnaissance, Mekaneck is disappointed that such a low-effort task is given to him. He-Man and his team are victorious once again, and once they return to the palace, Adam notices Mekaneck's foul mood. He confides in Adam about how he believes his ability is useless, but Adam reminds him how he saved Randor and Adam during He-Man's first mission. That doesn't lift up Mekaneck's spirits, though. Adam notices a few glitches near his neck and asks him to see Duncan. As Duncan works on his neck, he tells Mekaneck about his new invention, a telescope that can see past obstacles and above treetops, which would be a great help with reconnaissance. Mekaneck leaves dejected. Earlier, he was at least useful for recon, but now, a device was ready to replace him. Mekaneck heads to the sea to clear his mind, feeling insecure about his place amidst the heroic warriors. An old man approaches him and offers to grant any wish his heart desires. Mekaneck doesn't believe him, but plays along and tells him he would like either the power of light like Stratos or strength like Man-E-Faces. The sorcerer offers to grant him everything if he retrieves an amulet gifted to him by his dear departed sister from the Sands of Fire. He gives Mekaneck a map, and Mekaneck agrees to get him the amulet. Meanwhile, the sorceress warns He-Man about the return of Count Marzo, a powerful sorcerer who had been trapped in an old man's body and exiled to the Dark Hemisphere below the Valley of Geryon as punishment for attacking the Hall of Wisdom. The source of his magic, an amulet, was hidden in the Sands of Fire. Mekaneck, unaware of this lore, finds the amulet and returns it to the old man. The old man takes the amulet and leaves, ignoring Mekaneck's demands for his powers. Marzo gets his body and powers back and immediately launches an attack on the palace with his poisonous vapors. It knocks out everyone, except Mekaneck and Orko, who were away from the palace. Mekaneck enters the palace and keeps his neck elongated above the vapors to avoid being affected by them. Meanwhile, Orko wakes He-Man up. Marzo thinks he will not be caught as he is surrounded by vapors, but Mekaneck extends his neck to avoid the trap and get to him. He snatches the amulet from Marzo's hand with his teeth and throws it to He-Man. He-Man gets rid of it while Mekaneck captures Marzo by wrapping his neck around him. As Mekaneck helps a kid get his kite stuck in a tree, He-Man reminds us that we should be our own best instead of trying to be someone else, as everyone has their own special set of skills. Though the show completely nuked Mekaneck's son in the reboot, it does give him good character depth. It shows us that even the best of the warriors go through periods of self-doubt and imposter syndrome. The movie and everything else. If you're a true He-Man fan, you will know about the Masters of the Universe film set to release on June 5th, 2026, with Nicholas Galitzine as Prince Adam and He-Man. Mekaneck is set to make his live-action debut within the film, and actor James Wilkinson will be playing the long-necked warrior. We don't know much else about his character in the film, and we'll have to wait for its release. I'm glad Mekaneck gets to be a part of He-Man's adventure. He's a largely ignored character with barely any time given to his story and development. Like me, if you're disappointed by the origin story given to Mekaneck in the Filmation series, which is unfortunately the only origin story given to him in the cartoons, worry not. You can take a look at the 2012 Masters of the Universe Classics toy line. The info on the back of the toy box gives us Mekaneck's original name, something the Filmation series didn't bother to do. Aureus was a great warrior who was severely injured in the Battle of Avion. Duncan brought him to the Sorceress at Castle Grayskull to heal him. The Sorceress's spell replaced his neck with a bionic construct made up of microscopic nanites. Through this, Aureus could increase or decrease the nanites in his body and control the length of his neck. He adapted the codename Mekaneck and served the royal palace by using his amazing neck to spy on their enemies. This, in my opinion, is a far better origin story than the ones the writers at Filmation cooked up. This is every bit of lore we know about Mekaneck so far. I hope the movie doesn't do him dirty like most of the media did, and he actually gets to be a proper well-rounded character. Mekaneck is hardly any child's favorite character. There are so many unique characters in He-Man that Mekaneck gets lost in the sauce. We hardly ever see him use his club, which is depicted as his primary weapon. No wonder CBR listed him as the 10th worst He-Man toy ever. It's hard to root for a character we know so little about, and it's strange as well, as a bit sad, that despite having so many shows and comic books, we barely have a solid understanding of Mekaneck. I look forward to that changing soon. We hope you liked the video, and if you did, tap on that thumbs up and subscribe button. We'll be back soon with more awesome stuff, but until then, take care and goodbye.